Welcome to my channel. There's an experiment I've been carrying on in the garden, and we're going to have a look and see what the results are so far. So join me. There's an experiment I'm doing in my community garden using these worm castings. Worm castings are actually just worm poop. But for those who may be grossed out, just think of it as the same way you use steer manure, chicken manure. You can call this worm manure. This was... Sorry, at this point I lost my audio, but these are just the worm castings before they're completely digested. It's food scraps that I put in the bin for the worms to break down and produce the worm castings, which is also referred as the black gold. After the final digestion, this is what we end up with, the worm castings. Very beautiful. You can hardly see any food scraps left. And this is what I used in the garden to do the experiment that we are going to have a look at. So instead of throwing your leftover scraps into the trash, you can set up a worm bin. This is the comfrey plant that I used to produce the liquid fertilizer. I harvested the leaves and just put them in this 5-gallon bucket, in a 5-gallon bucket. So when I transplanted this cabbage, it's a purple savoy cabbage. When I dug the hole, in the transplant hole, I put in the worm castings or worm poop or worm manure. Once the transplant got going, I on a regular basis fed it with the liquid fertilizer that I had created from the comfrey plant that we just had a look at. And the plant is doing very well. The cabbage is doing very well. We hardly have any pest pressure from it. We do have one little hole, but that is it. It's forming a nice cabbage already. So compare this with same type of savoy cabbage that I transplanted on the same day. These I used chicken manure, steer manure, and look at it, it's hardly forming anything. Then I also realized it's being attacked by aphids, a problem I do not have with the other one that I used worm castings. So I don't know what the reason is, although I've read somewhere that too much nitrogen attracts aphids. So I don't know if that's the problem, because this is definitely not doing as well as the other cabbage. So what I'm going to do, I'll just try and blast off the aphids with water. I'll start with the water treatment, just blast them off. If this doesn't work, then I may be forced to use the organic pest control, because as long as the aphids are attacking this cabbage, it's not going to form a head. Most of what ends up happening is it may end up bolting and start flowering instead. So the question is, are the worm castings making a difference? Because since I planted all of them in the ground, there may be some residual fertilizer in it, but they both have exposure to it. So I'm going to try again and transplant another cabbage with the worm castings and see if the same results can be repeated. So thank you very much for watching. Subscribe and follow and see what happens as we continue with this experiment.